Welcome back to Around the World with Dane Waters. I'm your host, Dane Waters. And today, as we were just talking about before the break, is that there's so much going on around the world, so much sadness, controversy, war. And the greatest healer, in my mind, and we talked about this in this before, is that music. Music is the great healer. And no matter how difficult the
Oh,
times are, we must listen to music. And I think that that is the way that the world will find a way out of this mess. So, speaking of which, we're very honored today to have Zaaki Azzay with us. How you doing, sir? Good morning.
good morning. Thank you for having me, and I was looking forward to it.
Well, listen, it's my pleasure. It's my honor. Listen, you have a strong and distinguished career. Everything from you basically introduced hip hop into Nigeria. You're a humanitarian. You are a man who admit multiple many talents. So let's get into this. And because one of the purposes of this show is to expand globally and help people know what's going on around the world and important people and people who are can make a difference in the world. And you're clearly one of those people who can. So talk to us a little bit about how did you even become a singer and a hip hop artist?
Well, I come from the northern part of Nigeria, and at that time when I was growing up, somewhere around 19 in the 70s, um, most of the songs in Nigeria then, the trending songs and the big stars were all reggae artists like dancehall um, and all that. But in the north, strangely, in the northern part, it was hip hop. If you remember artists like Curtis Blow, LL Cool J, those were the acts, those were the kind of songs that were being patronized in the North. So growing up, I was influenced by these hip hop songs, but it wasn't the same with the entire country. It was just North. So was how I started. We used to have things like rap attack, where you go and just compete on a radio station using a DJ. And then I would sing on TV stations, hip hop songs, try to mime songs of Michael Jackson, songs of Curtis Blow, Cool Moody. I know you may not know names like that, you
Well, I know
know.
Michael Jackson. I
Um,
definitely know Michael Jackson. So
Okay, okay. So I will mime songs like that, and um, so by the time I wanted to get to the mainstream of the Nigerian music industry, um, nobody would accept me because I was doing hip hop music, and hip hop music is not selling in Nigeria. Nobody listens to hip hop. It's just reggae, dancehall. We had the biggest acts at that time were people like Majek, Fashek, um, Blackie, Daniel Wilson, Manditos. All these names I've mentioned were all dancehall and reggae artists, but hip hop being the only thing I know. But what gave me an edge was that I I put a lot of tradition into it. I came out with what we call traditional hip hop, so there's a lot of house language in it, and then English, you know, and that's what gave me my break basically. So by the time I eventually got a recording deal, because most of the recording companies at that time, EMI, Polygram, would not even give me a contract because they would not sign me on because I was doing hip hop, and hip hop was not the in thing at that time. But somehow, because of the traditional languages I infused in the hip hop, I was able to make a headway with EMI. And by the time the first song came out and it was a hit, I think that was the beginning of my career.
well, let's so let's fast forward to today. I've been to Nigeria many times and around the world. Wherever I go around the world, I run into young adults, kids singing. They love to sing, and everyone wants to be a star. There's no doubt about that. So in today's environment,
Mm.
do you think that what, I usually would probably end with this question, but I want to ask you this question now is what advice would you give to young people, not just in Nigeria, but around the world? What is the one piece of advice that you would give them to be successful?
Mm. Well, what I would say is that no matter how talented you are, your attitude has a lot to do with how far you get in life. Your attitude, if you are the best talent in the world, if you are the best singer, the best rapper, you're loved by the whole world, and you don't have the right attitude. Um, Wrong attitudes could get you into drugs, could get
What do you see are the opportunities for Nigerian musicians around the world?
like I was saying, when we started, it was very difficult um, because Nigeria was dominated by Western music, American music, European music, Um, Nobody will listen to the local content, the local Nigerian music. Um, after some time during our struggles, we uh, started getting attention from Nigerians in diaspora who came in with their expertise and boosted the Nigerian music. Um, before the greatest achievement for the Nigerian music right now is that Nigerians finally embrace Nigerian music. It was when Nigerians finally embraced Nigerian music against the 95% Western music like it used to be, that is what actually gave Nigerian music the boost that it has now. That is what now propelled Nigerian music to the whole world entirely. And however, I think one of the things that is also giving us an edge now is because the genre of Afro music, Afrobeat music has been accepted worldwide. And then there's also the fusion of collabos between the Nigerian acts and the American acts. America is the biggest market when it comes to music, and the fact that we get more opportunities now to do collabos because now we have the attention of the world uh, because of Afrobeats and because of how we have presented our music. But all these achievements are coming because we first conquered home. That is where we can now project to the world. So I think that, however, my only fears is that I don't want what happened to reggae music to happen to Afrobeats, you know? Because, in those days, you would agree with me that reggae music was big. It was everywhere. It was, I don't know what went wrong, but I am afraid that that must not happen to Afrobeats, which is why I'm very happy that we're having collaborations with other big acts from all around the world, from the Caribbeans to America to Europe to UK. I think that's the only way we can sustain and constantly sell Afrobeat to the world, So,
Well, it's
um,
interesting. It's interesting you say that because I agree. Like if you look back at reggae and others, when they kept, and it goes back to something you said, when they stayed to their core, to their original beats, to their
yeah,
heritage, they were
yeah,
big. And then when they, I don't want to say sold out, but when they started trying to mix it and they lost the originality of it, that's when I think it diluted it and it wasn't as strong. So I do agree that that if you stay true to your roots, And it's
mm,
there's a distinction about it. I mean, one thing about Afro beats, as you talk about, it's a unique sound, and there's so much music around the world. And for somebody like me who's a listener, I love the uniqueness of Afro beats, and I love the purity of it. And I think that that's critical, in my humble opinion, to the future.
mm, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's been a long time coming. It started from Fela Aníkúlápó Kuti. Even at that time, it was a struggle. He was big, yes, but people didn't really understand where he was going until now. So um, I'm, I'm, that is why I always try to, as the vice president of Performing Musician Association of Nigeria, I try to um, advise, especially those big acts that we have, those ones that are on top of their game, like Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Kiss Daniel, and co. To navigate it properly, since they are the hem of affairs now, in a way that we would sustain Afrobeat and keep it real, you know. So
Well,
I,
listen, I think that, well, whatever I can do, whatever, I think it's important to get the music out, to get the Afro beats out. Um, and whatever we can do to help spread the word, I would love to do it. And sadly, we've run out of time, but it's a great pleasure and honor having you on the
and
show today.
I wanted to ask you a question, but
Sure.
since you said we ran out of time, let me just. Can I ask
Okay.
a question?
Oh, yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, you said it's the first time you are having a hip hop artist. I was wondering why. Is it that you don't like hip hop? Oh, oh,
No, I know I'm the first because the show, well, for me personally, I've met some hip hop artists, but on the show, you're the first.
okay,
We actually you're the
okay,
first musician we've had on the show because, we normally talk more about global
okay.
events, but one thing that we want to do on this show is that talk more about the things that, we talk a
Mm,
lot about things that are negative. Sadly, we do, and we really want to focus more things on
mm,
positive, more and music. And I keep going back to this is that, I've been in a lot of war zones. I've been places that, my mother would hate me for ever going to. But what calms people is music, no matter whether it's reggae, no matter if it's hip hop, no matter whatever it is, it
true,
calms people. And
very
and
true.
and this is where I want us to, and I think that spreading music around the world, and I hate it sounds hokey, but the love of music is very important. And individuals like you and all that you've done is definitely the right way to do it. And so I applaud all your efforts. I truly do. So, and I hope to have you back on the show. I really do. So,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
thank,
having me. I appreciate it.
thank you. Thanks for being with Around the World with Dane Waters. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back with our next guest. Thank you.